Ladies and gentlemen, in the next episode, we got a world tour coming out, and with that, the world download, and there are tons of things that I would like to get sorted before I release the world to the public. And our first order of business is going to be finishing up a little bit of terraforming right here, so without any further ado, let's roll that intro time-lapse. Oh yeah. There's been so much talk about this being the final part I need to get terraformed before the world tour that it's getting kind of ridiculous at this point, but it does feel really good to finally be done with it. And I didn't do anything too fancy with this one, I just expanded the hill going all the way down from the field to spawn. And I have a pretty great idea of what I want to put right here, but speaking of great ideas, this would be the perfect episode for you guys to leave your suggestions of what you'd like to see built in the world in general. So regardless whether it's something you want to see built here in Ventia or a completely new project, leave your suggestions down below. I honestly probably have ideas for hundreds of episodes to come, so I won't run out anytime soon, but if you guys want to voice your opinion and maybe have something get built in the world here, feel free because I love interacting with you guys and I respond to most, if not all, comments. And while you're down there commenting, you might as well leave a like because it helps the channel out a lot and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying this type of content. Listen, you might as well subscribe because it's free. You can always unsub later if I happen to start making prank videos gone wrong or something. But hey, I promise to never let that happen, and I'm gonna continue making these videos about creating things in survival that you should probably be using creative for. So what you're seeing me do here in the time-lapse is actually completely depleting the rest of my dirt and stone. Luckily, I didn't have to use that much stone, only a few stacks, because I seriously had no stone to my name. So at some point in the very near future, I'm gonna have to go on a massive collecting session and just collect tons of dirt and stone and everything I might need. I'm honestly running out of my wood supply as well, so after the world tour, I'm pretty much gonna be starting with just sand. And as we all know, that won't do because sand is coarse, rough, it gets everywhere. But aside from the galactic standard opinion on sand, I decided to do a few other chores here in the intro time-lapse. So I tried my hand at building a new type of tree around the spawn area. So later on, I'm going to be spreading around a lot of these trees in the fairgrounds, but expect to see a lot more trees being built in this episode because I just want to get as much done as possible before we tour this place. And one of those things I really need to get done is putting in a lot of the roads. In fact, I think I saw a comment last episode saying that we should add a lot of trees and the road network here around spawn, and you know what, that sounds like a great idea to me, so I decided to put in a lot of the dirt roads here outside of the town. And honestly, I would have put in the stone pathways inside of the town as well, but as you know, I'm out of stone, so I'm gonna have to leave that for a later time. But for now, I think we should take a look at what this looks like in first-person perspective, so I'm gonna hop in there and I will see you on the other side. Alright guys, the roads are in, and I think this looks a lot better. It's a big improvement, to be honest. There's still a lot of roads that need to be built, but this is a good start for sure. We also got this whole area in right here, and my reasoning for stopping right there before we do the world tour is actually because it kind of looks like the world keeps going. Like, you can't really tell that that's the end of the world. And I mean, obviously you can if you're flying, but if you're going there by foot, you can't really tell, and that's the thing that matters. And over here, I think this whole place looks a lot better now that we have the paths in. It kind of creates these little sections where we can build. So we're going to put the marketplace right there. We'll probably have some of it right here, maybe a few more tents. I think I'm going to connect this path right here and wrap it around the tents and go kind of around the whole area and have that be part of the horse track that's going to go around the whole thing. I'll probably end up texturing in some path block and some regular dirt, maybe some soul sand. We'll see what I figure figure out with that. There's always brown concrete powder, but for now, I kind of just wanted to map out exactly where we're gonna have these. And later on in this video, I want to come around here and build a lot more trees and greenery, maybe get started on the marketplace a little bit. We'll see if I have time for that. But coming into the spawn tent over here, I actually mapped out everything so you can see all the pathways so far. And so to give you an idea of what this is going to look like later, I think this part is going to be wrapping around here until you get to a cliff where there's going to be a lot of waterfalls coming down from the lake here into the ocean. At this point, we really have a lot of land to work with and build on, and it's honestly really exciting. And if you guys have any ideas, like I said in the intro time lapse, for what you want to see go over here, give it a comment because I will probably build it. So before we get started on a ton of building again, I kind of want to do a lot of detail work around here. Just put in a lot of little fun details in my world here, and after that I probably want to get into doing a ton of interiors over here. There are still a lot of them missing, and honestly I'd love for all of them to be done before the world tour. But for example, the monastery up there is going to be way too much work to try to do the interior for this episode. But I'd love to do a lot of the smaller houses down here and kind of challenge myself with confined spaces. So I know most people are probably just going to spawn in right here, be in creative mode, take a look around, maybe gather some inspiration. But I figured that if someone actually wanted to play survival mode in here and walk around and gather up the stuff that I lay out, that could be kind of fun. So later on, we're probably going to have to build a stables somewhere around here so that people could grab a horse and traverse the world. But for this first download, people are going to have to walk all the way over to the stables over there. But I figure that people probably want to fly around with an elytra. And I know some people thought that I would just put the elytra in the tent at spawn over there, but the truth is I have all that stuff in my ender chest, so I figured that the place we'd put it would be the highest place in our world, right up here. And I told you guys that I had a special plan for this little side room right over here. So if we come into this floating tower, I seem to have a slab here already. So we just have to place down our armor stand and put our wings right there. And this is where you'll be able to find your elytra. I can't think of a better place to put our wings, so if we ever need a backup, we know where to find them. So for this next detail, I kind of want to add a bell that randomly chimes to the church, and I was actually watching an Impulse SV video when I realized that he was swarming Grian's base with these bells that just randomly chimed, and I figured we could set something up in the bell tower up here. I mean, it will kind of disrupt what this room looks like, but I think it'll be worth it, so let's try and set it up. Alright, so while we may actually have to change this so it looks a little better, we do have this cactus growing here on this sand block, and once this grows and this observer sees it, it's gonna send a redstone signal over to this bell, and while we're here, I should take the opportunity to tell you guys to hit that bell button to get notifications for my videos, otherwise you might miss them. So hopefully, if we have a little bit of luck, we'll hear this sometime in the episode going off. It should just add a little bit more ambiance and make the world feel a bit more lived in. Next up, I want to show you guys something I did over here by the monastery. I wanted to kind of upgrade my dock over here because I thought it looked a little bit too plain with just the slabs. And so someone conveniently suggested that I should add some unlit campfires right here. And while I'm not sure how I feel about this bottom texture, it does look pretty cool and breaks it up a little bit. So tell me how you guys feel about this. Another little detail I'd like to add around here is a few of the little flowers that I usually put down in my lakes. And building these is super simple. Honestly, if we want one right here, we just build these out and place down a few lily pads around it, and then we just put our little coral fan right on top. Super cute little design, so I'm going to splash a few of these around this lake and we'll see what it looks like in just a bit. Yeah, I love what that looks like. We'll probably hop in here and add a few more of these all over the place once we start building more of the terrain over here. But for now, I think this is really, really cool. And a few episodes ago, while I was building this monastery, I added this little underground secret right here, or more of an underwater secret, I guess, and it's this chest. And I kind of want to put chests all over the place with secrets like this. So my challenge for all of you who get the download is to find all my secret chests. But if I told you where I put all those chests, that would kind of defeat the purpose, so I'll have to do all that off cam. So let's move on to stuff we can actually do on camera. In this little area right here on the back side of this nice blue terracotta house, I haven't done anything with this space in such a long time, and I really want to get that done before we release this world to, well, the world. Having a mess of shulker boxes in this corner brings back memories, doesn't it? So I kind of want to turn this area into a little shaded dining area. But first off, we definitely got to get rid of this grass right here, and that leads to nowhere. Interesting. I went with jungle planks. I think that looks pretty good. So now let's get a few tables in here, and usually scaffolding is a pretty good choice. All right, so I went with a super simple dining area right here. I think it fits in real nicely. And then I just finished up this area, put a lot of greenery in here, finished the path in between, going to this bottom section into the shop. At least now it's not going to feel super weird to look down there and having there be nothing. So I think that's a big improvement. Next up, I'd like to make something super awesome over here. What I'd like to do is build a bit of a canvas right here to make it seem like someone's painting the castle and the entire valley. And the best way to do that, I think, is just to start setting down spruce stuff like this. Okay, this'll work. And if you guys know, the only 2x4 painting in the game is actually the karate painting. But with the help of my awesome friend and moderator, Ladimirian, some of you guys might know him if you hang around the Discord server. If you don't, you should probably join the Discord server. But he actually made a painting of my world right here, downscaled to the pixely Minecraft art style, and I think that looks super awesome. Yep, it's definitely a painting of what's right in front of you right here. That looks super cool. So let's maybe put some slabs down here, maybe a little table with a cup where you could dip your brush or something. And I mean, it would be a crime if I didn't show this side by side with the actual shaders. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Now it seriously looks the same. That is so awesome. And we didn't stop there. We actually made a few more paintings from screenshots from around the world here. So let's try to put another one down. Oh, I got it first try. That is so awesome. Doesn't that just look great? It's a little bit distorted, but I think it's fine. It looks really, really cool. We'll do the same thing here where we'll give him a little bit of a cup right there. That is awesome. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of use for these paintings in the world. Our interior game is about to be stepped up. All right, I decided to make it a little bit messier over here with some concrete powder. I think that looks pretty cool, like there's stained paint all over the ground right here. But speaking of improving our interior game, there are a lot of interiors that I'd like to get done today because there are a ton missing in the world here, and I kind of want to remedy that before we release this world. And the perfect example of that is over here in my milling village. I built this stuff up in the second and third episode maybe of the whole series. And to this date, they actually don't have an interior yet. I mean, I've done a little bit of work here, put a wall in, but I'd like to get all this finished. I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. There's even a door missing. That's no good. So this certainly has to be remedied right now. And there are even a ton of houses over here, including this large one over here, this one, a couple of these. So before we do any more nature refine, let me just get ready and decorate some of these interiors. I'll get as many of them as I can finished before I need to get this episode out. So for me, this is going to be a painstaking amount of hours, and for you guys, it'll be about 1 second. Oh, wow. So I'll be right back, guys. And many hours it has been. I've probably spent the better part of 10 hours just decorating interiors, and I'm not going to have time to show them all off. In fact, I didn't get as many done as I probably wanted to, but the one I will show off is this one right here, the windmill, because it's been such a long time since I did this. So the struggle for me here when designing the interior of the windmill is I actually wanted it to work. And I mean, work in Minecraft is a little bit of a stretch. Because of course this mill doesn't actually turn the wheat into flour. But we've got some sand down here representing the flour that's being produced. That up there is supposed to be a gear. There's actually another dark oak gear above it. But the idea is that the windmill turns. That turns the dark oak gear, which turns this, which in turn turns a lot of turning, okay? And so that would produce the flour. And I just think this was kind of fun to work on and try to make it look a little bit like an actual windmill. But if we come over this way, we actually have a way to get out on this side. And doesn't that look really cool in the fog over there? I think that looks great. Ooh, especially with the sunset orange, that looks really, really awesome. But yeah, we have this little connecting room right here. And if you pass through this dark oak door, I just did this to mix it up a little bit and not have spruce everywhere because it got very sprucey in here. This takes you into this area, which is actually the entrance to the residential area. And so the main way to get in there would be through the back door here. In hindsight, maybe I would have wanted the front door to the residential area and the back door into the windmill, but you know what? You can't have all things in life. And if we go through here, we have a little storage area for all our wheat that's going to be turned into flour. And of course, we have a way to get back into the milling area. And if we come up the stairs over here, we have a little bit of a living room right here, living room / kitchen. The kitchen part isn't huge for this area. Ooh, I forgot to put a banner right here too. I love using the white banners above these cauldrons to make it look like a towel. I think it's a great detail, but up here we just have some paintings, some flower pots the way we normally do. Fireplace, of course, is essential. And then this little area I think is really cute where you could sit and write and take a look at the nice waterfall right here. We get a great view. And then this section over here, I figured maybe they'd have a little spot for one of the servants to sleep that would do the cooking or something like that. And they have a pretty nice view of the other side of the valley over there. But then if we decide to go up the stairs here, we've got a nice little cozy section right here that leads into the master bedroom. And it pretty much covers the whole floor here. We have a lot of storage for clothing and stuff, a little bit of a mirror. I, of course, had to use the painting. I've probably used these way too much over in the town, so I'll have to cut down on that. But I think it looks really, really cool. It adds a little personal element to my world here, and I'm going to have to make sure to release the texture pack that has all of these paintings when I do the world download. But don't you worry about that. I'll get that sorted. But over here, we have a little bit of a room with a bunk bed for the kids. They got a nice view of the mountain peak over there. And even though there's tons of closet space, I decided to make this a little bit of a walk-in closet because I had some extra space. But I think this interior turned out pretty cute and nice, and it's great to get it off my chest, to be honest. And I fully interiorized this house over here, a few of the houses over here. So if you download the world after next episode, then you can go check those out for yourself. But I'm not going to have time to tour all that because the video would be way too long. But ladies and gentlemen, despite me having spent about 10 or so hours on interiors, I really want to get as much done as possible before this download. And the next thing I'd like to work on is get a little bit of a forest going down here. It's looking a little bit empty, and I'd like to remedy that problem. And you know what? We don't waste time here on the Antlerboy channel, so let's just get right into the building. Let's roll that forest time lapse. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's a wonderful sunrise here in Ventia, and honestly, I was hoping to get a little bit more forestating done. Yeah, I know forestating isn't really a word, but that's what we do here. And so there's still a ton of work that needs to be done around here, but honestly, I just ran out of wood and leaves, and I'm pretty much totally out of resources at this point. But I will say that I'm really, really happy with what I ended up with here, this magical little walkway under the canopies here, and as, well, we have a little visitor as well. Do you like it, buddy? What I was gonna say is, as you can see, I replaced the taller flowers with these pink tulips because I think the taller ones were just a little too obstructive. They focused your attention attention on them a little bit too much. And in the time-lapse footage, I really liked what it looked like with just the grass in there. So I think this looks a lot better, and the lanterns really add a lot when we add shaders. But this is kind of what I want the whole way to look like as we go up. So we'll keep doing tree canopies up from here. And then as you come up here, you'll just be looking over all the canopies down onto spawn. I think that'll look really cool, and it'll be a good way to fill up some empty space here. And honestly, it's a pretty large area we got filled, and considering we actually got all this done this episode, and I did all the interiors that I could, I feel like I did pretty well. What do you guys think? But ladies and gentlemen, as all good things, this video, of course, needs to come to an end as well. So definitely stay tuned for the world tour, which is going to be the very next video. And as always, if you watched until the end of the video, then you're the champ, and I appreciate your existence. And until we see each other next time, have a good one.